Hello, and welcome back to Philosophy, the podcast where I talk about whatever I like. Today, I am going to work on this lady's forehead while I am considering a topic that I've been asked a lot about, especially by people who are not on the internet or who are perhaps considering to join YouTube or any other social media platform, which is privacy online, and whether we are wavering our privacy by trying to put content out there and coming online. And I think it's a very interesting topic to talk about because I definitely had a lot of reservations around this myself before starting, but I found the reality to be quite different to what I imagined it to be. And also beyond that, I think there are so many things in my life right now that are potentially challenging my position of don't talk about things online, and it's not good to talk about things online, because one thing that I wanted to discuss is perhaps our social responsibility and the potential benefit that we could have in talking about difficult topics online and how they could benefit other people versus trying to protect, in my case, at least me, protect my privacy or protect my feelings or protect myself against what I consider to be a difficult situation. And what is there value, therefore, in discussing difficult topics online and wavering our privacy in that case? Okay, let's get started, shall we? So I think if you've ever, especially if you're a private person, I consider myself to have been quite a private person. I did not have a lot of social media presence before I started YouTube. It was a bit of a almost 0 to 100 for me switch. And therefore, I can very much relate to people who come up to me now and say, hey, I would love to have a YouTube channel, but I'm just a very private person. I really value my privacy, and therefore I don't want to do this thing. And I then wonder, because I had the same thoughts, what does that mean exactly? What is the inherent value of privacy? And what does privacy mean? Because I still feel as though I have a lot of privacy despite being online, and I think I misjudged it a lot to start with. I think the nature of YouTube lends itself very easily to having quite a private life, even though you are online, because right now, for example, I'm sitting on my bedroom floor and just talking into a camera. There's no one else here. There's no crazy equipment. There's no PR or social stuff that need to be done. My channel is fairly small. Not a lot of people know me. Lots of those people are spread around the world. So in the day-to-day life, my life has not changed. I hang out with the same people. I do the same things. I still have a job, and it's not as though, and of course I'm not a huge social media person. So yeah, there is that difference. You can, if you're Jeffree Star, I imagine, it's very, very different. But in the realistic small scale for the majority of us, having some sort of social media presence online doesn't really affect us, I would say, as much as I thought it would. I thought even at 1,000 subscribers, I thought even, putting out one video online was just God, my privacy is gone. I'm out there now. It's there forever. People can always see it. But what does that mean? What, to me, was I thinking that I was letting go of by doing that? And what was I trying to hold on to? Why do I think it's scary for more people to know of my existence, really? Because the good thing about social media is that you can definitely control a lot of what is out there about you. And I always had these very kind of clear distinctions in my mind about things that I keep private and public, which are definitely being challenged a lot right now. And I'm thinking of challenging them a lot. But when I started, I was very clear in my mind of the things that I could and couldn't talk, wouldn't talk about online. And I've always been very open about my thoughts on things. As in, if people would ask me what my opinion is on something, or how I see the world, and many people would consider that, I think, to be quite a private thing. That is something that I've always been quite generous with. I'm like this podcast. I have a stream of consciousness about how I think about things and how I think about topics and how I view the world. And I always thought that this was such an easy thing to talk about because, our opinions and thoughts, they are private, but why shouldn't they be out there? I mean, it's so, I never felt that they were closely tied to my identity, although arguably they do make me as a person more than anything else. Those were things that I've always, I think, been quite generous about talking about, but things that I've always been scared of talking about, and this is even in real life or on the internet, is my private life. So factual things about where I live and my family and relationships and kind of the things that I'm going through, my medical history, my financial history. So these sort of details are things that I would consider to be a private life, and I hope maybe it's the same way for other people. And those are things that I definitely have kept very private online. And I just wanted to say it's quite easy to do that. You just don't talk about those things. People, I mean, there's no way of them really knowing much about you unless people go through the work to find that out if they want to. I mean, I guess they can, whatever. But in the majority of the cases, for channels of like my size, like no one really cares. The information won't be out there unless you want it to be out there. And it's quite, it's not too difficult to maintain a private life. It's not like I'm kind of walking out and people are crowding around me and in the way that I like think of celebrities who are actual celebrities in movies. So I think there is a certain sort of safety to start with being a YouTuber, for example, or a podcaster, in that you're not really changing a lot about your life. You're just putting some more thoughts out there, and it's not really more people will know your name and more people will know things about you, but those were just things that you pick and choose to share, and therefore it doesn't really become a problem. I know people who are extremely private even in real life, even as friends. I know very little about them and their life. I know about their thoughts, and I know about their knowledge, and I know about their expertise, but I know very little about them as people. And even if I do ask these questions, they tell me, no, sorry, I'm just a private person. I don't talk about that, which is absolutely fine, right? And they're the same online. They have, like, I know someone who has almost 1 million subscribers on YouTube, and they are super private even in real life and on YouTube. No one knows about them. They just play this character, which is the person that is interested in the things that they are genuinely interested in and they want to talk about. And in the same way, I play the same character where I am my thoughts rather than I am me. And there's very little, I think, of me as Elizabeth online. And I think I am realizing this, where the things that I'm saying are genuine and true, but they're not facts about me. They're just transient things that I think and feel and know and research and I'm interested in. And so I think the more that I am online, and it's really not a long time for me. So it's barely been, it's been a year now. So like 5 days ago, it was a year since I posted my first video. So it has been a while, a short while that I am online, not a very long while that I am online. But I feel as though this thought of don't talk about things, don't discuss things, keep things private because that is good, is slightly changing. A part of that is, I think, when I think of the creators I love, a lot of them are very genuine people and are honest about their life and their difficulties and their struggles online. And I wish that I could have access to that information very selfishly for everyone that I adore and like. So for example, a lot of these people are open about their own idea, like I said, because I tend to gravitate towards people like that. But when Tim Ferriss talks about his mental health, I go, this is great. This is so relatable. This is so informational. This is so wonderful and reassuring for me as a person. And I wish that all the creators that I loved would talk about their personal life, and I wish the creators that I love would talk about their mental health, and I wish people, the creators that I love, would talk about their finances, because it would inform me so much. So I think, but at the same time, I do realize that is the privacy that people are scared of sharing, and that is the privacy that I'm genuinely scared of sharing. So I guess I'm just thinking out loud in terms of what is the balance there, and is that a sacrifice is it a sacrifice at all? And if it is one, is it a sacrifice that should be worth making? Especially when misinterpreted, and I'm trying not to care about the misinterpretation. I think I'm just going to ignore the misinterpretation because it's constantly there. And what I mean by that is the thought of people going, oh, this is just so boastful, or people going that, oh, this is a pity party, or this is someone going like, oh, hey, they just want attention, or they just want, I really don't care about that. it hurts. It hurts me when I see it online on other people, but and it's happened to me too. There was this thing that I was trying the other day. So there's this app that gets notifications for things, and I got like a message from someone saying that, hey, do you think your podcast is so important that people should get notified for it? And I was like, what? No. No. But yes, I'm trying to ignore that part of things. That's just part and parcel. So I don't think I would worry too much about people going like, oh, Elizabeth just wants to show off about her finances. Elizabeth, which to be fair, I think my finances would be more of a pity party than a show off at this point. But anyway, but Elizabeth just wants a pity party about, you know, the things that she's gone through. And I think if I ignore that noise, I don't care very much about that noise, because that will for sure always be there, but that's a terrible reason not to do things. But I think the things that I'm trying to now consider are, why do I not talk about private things in my life online? And why am I not, in a way, almost completely transparent and open about things? Let's take the extreme, right? Let's assume that I'm sitting on one extreme where I say, hey, I can't talk about, you know, myself and my story online, and that's because I value my privacy and I value people not knowing about this thing. Great. That's the current default state I'm in. Then let's take the other extreme where we go, well, what would happen if I were to be completely open about everything? What would happen if I were to completely be open about my relationships and my mental health and my finances? What would the consequences of that potentially be? And I guess the thing would be that people would have a lot more, there would be a slight imbalance in information or knowledge on me by someone who I've just met. So if someone were to Google me, for example, they would be able to see and know a lot about me that I could, if they had no social media presence, I would never know about them. And that terrifies me. That really scares me now. For example, if I were to meet a friend or someone online for the first time, they could just Google me and they could know so much information about me, even my employer, in a way that I would not be able to access about them if they did not have a social media presence. So it would be a very one-sided situation where other people could have the upper hand in the amount of information that they knew about me. Okay, that is slightly an uncomfortable position to be in. Great. But is it a bad position to be in? Because I feel as though it is then a good filter. If I go, hey, I don't want people to know about, you know, the struggles that I've had. Why? Why is the default privacy here? And this is coming from someone who genuinely has a default of privacy for everything. I find it super difficult to be open and honest about things on a large scale. On a one-to-one scale, I will be open and honest. If I met anyone, even people that I don't know, and they were to ask me about, you know, private things about my history, I don't think I would mind telling. But I think when it comes to like a large group of people, I tend to think, ugh, that is absolutely mortifying. That is so scary. Can't let go of that, because you can't take it back. But what can you not take back? What is the value of privacy? What is it? Especially when on the other end, you have the thing of, like I said, if there is anyone in the world who has been in a similar position that I have been in, I love hearing them explain what they went through. I love hearing about people's stories and journeys. I love how inspiring, calming, just relaxing, just feeling as though I am part of the world and as though there is hope in things, and especially things that I've already kind of gone through at least once. I might go through them again, but things that I've gone through once and things that I've come out of the other side. And I remember being, you know, neck deep in issues and problems, and me, you know, searching for these things on YouTube and not finding the resources that I wanted and needed. So there's a huge part of me that feels that, you know, screw the privacy. That's actually not important at all. And it's so much more important to kind of have an impact on even one other person or on a few other people, and take the negative side of meeting new people who know these details about you. Take the negative side of people going, oh, she's an attention seeking, like pity party thrower, and just ignoring that, and rather going for, yeah, you know, it is what it is. That just happened, or this is something that happened, and yeah, that's that. And in the end of the day, does it not work in your benefit? I feel as though even let's not take social media, because not everyone has social media, but let's take real life situations. Would we rather people knew about difficulties that we've gone through, or would we not? Because especially if this is someone that we presume we want to have a meaningful relationship with, like a friend, would we rather they knew? And I think I would always go that I would rather they knew, because it would help filter, right? Why do we waste time potentially on people and relationships and situations that were they to know the whole truth would not work out? So wouldn't it potentially be better just to be open and honest and to have our things out there? And on one hand, the people who will not enjoy them will just kind of not be there, and the people who do enjoy them will get a benefit from those things and grow. And the potential consequences on me are, yes, my feelings will get hurt from negative things that people will say. I'm going against my nature in wanting to be more open and honest, but I think life's short. We are, we're in this universe for a brief period of time. Why the hell am I so controlling of, facts about my life? And why am I so trying to like huddle up and hold on to everything with just like this anxiety driven, no, people mustn't know this. No, this would be like, this is unnecessary, and this is attention seeking, and this is like taking time. Why am I not rather on the end of, yeah, this is what happened. This is what I did. This is how we got over things. This is what I think about things in general. This is how I feel. This is what I'm doing. This is what I'm earning. And how much more helpful would that be? Even the other day, I was hanging out with a bunch of YouTubers, and I just found out that I'm being paid like a 1/10 of what they're being paid. And these were YouTubers who are, some of them, 1/5 of my YouTube channel size. And I was so surprised, even with views having a lot less. And I was like, oh, I'm being massively underpaid for everything that I'm doing. And I would have never known that had these other people not been willing to kind of share and had not been willing to be open with these things. And I just felt that genuinely, I cannot pick a time where someone has been open, honest, has wavered their privacy over something, and I have not felt a benefit. I've always felt okay, maybe some ways that it's being said were perhaps kind of like inappropriate, or I felt would bring me down, but they were just not targeted to me then. But the things that were targeted to me and relevant to me, when someone else has done that, I've always felt, oh my God, hell yes, thank you for that. And I think maybe because it's more of a permanent decision when you've said something, when you've wavered your privacy, you can't suddenly like take it back and go, no, like I don't want this to be out there anymore. Can we all just forget this thing I said? I regret that. I don't want you to know. Let's just go back. You can't do that. So it's a bit of a permanent decision, and it is something to consider. But I do wonder if perhaps, very long-winded, very rambly way of saying, if perhaps I do overvalue privacy, if perhaps it is a bit overrated, and if perhaps I were to meet someone for the first time, I'd be like, yeah, you're the girl who, XYZ. And I'd go like, yeah, yeah. So what? Kind of, life is short. If it's probably going to be annoying and jokes for someone, fine. It's probably going to be helpful and life-changing for someone else, fine. Maybe it's not life-changing for anyone. Maybe it is literally just boring for most people, and maybe it's just annoying for a few of those people, but who cares? Why do I care? Why do I try to, is holding onto your privacy a way of controlling other people's thoughts of you? Is that just an extension of that? Is that just, how is it not? How is it not an extension? Again, when we talk about privacy, we don't talk about bowel movements and just completely random stuff that wouldn't benefit anyone. And I do think that there's still politeness to be had, and there are still kind of, trigger warnings to be put before we discuss topics. And that's absolutely fine. Completely agree with that. But privacy for the sake of privacy, not indulging and not having potentially very, very important conversations, which can be life-changing for people, because we're holding so strongly onto this vague thing that I'm not even sure has value in itself, is just a bit bizarre to me. Why I felt so strongly about this thing. And I just want to say that I think I'm moving more in the direction of going, you know what, I don't care. It is what it is. Yep. And potentially talking about things that have been at least very impactful or very important to me, with a lot less regard of, you know, loss of privacy, and a lot less regard for, you know, how these have impacted me and how they might potentially impact me, with a lot less regard of how selfish I might be considered for having these conversations, or how naive I might be considered for having these conversations. And moving more in the direction of like, YOLO, this hopefully will help someone. That's why I'm doing it. And it will make me sleep better at night, thinking that there might be one person who benefited from this. Because to be honest, I've gotten, like, even when I've ever so slightly dipped my toes into mental health discussions before, I've gotten so many DMs and emails of people going, hey, this was like so helpful, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just shocked, because I don't even feel like, it's always been almost an accident whenever I talk about things like this, because like I said, let's not talk about our private lives online. So it's always been almost an accident on my end. And when that has happened, it's always challenged me so much into thinking, am I being so stupid here? Should I just say a bit more? Like, there's so much more I could say. There's so much more I could do here. That it does genuinely challenge those thoughts. So, you know, if you're listening to this, comments are appreciated. What are your thoughts on privacy? Is there inherent value in privacy itself? Or is it, as I'm starting to think, just an extension of controlling people's just an extension of controlling people's views of us and opinions on us? And why should we be doing that? Shouldn't we rather just kind of let go, or very much let go of the judgment, and let go of the fears, and just lean into, hey, let's chat. I'm not the first person to say this, by the way. I'm absolutely not. I know there's a lot of conversations about mental health, and there's a lot of conversations around finances online, and there's people who there's people who are genuine like forerunners in this, like 40 years ago. This is nothing new. It's just new to me personally. And it's potentially so I just want to discuss it in the context of someone who's been terrified by it for the longest time, not in the context of, oh, why do people not do this? There are people who do this, and they do it very, very well. This is just me being like a chronic overthinker and very terrified about this thing. So yeah, not groundbreaking in any shape or form, but groundbreaking to me potentially. But yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. And let's just leave it there. But I think I want to know your thoughts. I really want to know your thoughts. And if you made it so far, thank you so much for spending this time with me. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Be kind to yourself and others, and don't forget everything you think. Thanks. Bye.